Welcome to the Anatomy of Fear. And tonight we're bringing you the inaugural episode of He's Gonna Need Therapy. So here's the backstory. My son Joey, if you've listened to our show any amount of time, watches a lot of movies with him. I've taken him to a bunch of movies, and that's kind of been a thing that we like to do together. I've also shown him movies that are too inappropriate for his age. So hence the title, He's Gonna Need Therapy. So here's kind of the format of this podcast. There's no Alan this time. Alan's aware of the project, but this is going to be just my son and I. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to my 11-year-old son, Joey. Joey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. What are you doing over there?
Playing with my water bottle.
He's playing with his water bottle. And what did we do today so far?
We went to the canyon thing.
We went to the canyon thing. So before this, we went and drove through the mountains. Today's date is May 3rd, and as anyone knows, we're kind of stuck in the middle of a pandemic right now. So we were able to get out and just get the whole family in the car and kind of return to this idea of the Sunday drive. So that was a lot of fun. Now we're back at home. We're sitting at the kitchen table, and we're going to bring you the first episode of, what's the name, Joe?
Therapy lessons.
Nope. He's going to need therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, so since this is our first episode, and hopefully you know me by now because you've been listening to me for about 3 years, but this is Joey's first episode, and the way a lot of podcasts like to do it is to get to know us on the very first episode. We're going to give a top 10 list of our top 10 favorite horror movies. So if you've listened to The Anatomy of Fear, you heard our initial list, and so mine has drastically changed since then, so you'll be hearing that. But you're also going to hear Joey's top 10 list. So, Joey, why don't you kick us off and give me your number 10 horror film of all time?
You said you would.
You want me to start?
Yeah, you said you would start.
Okay, well, I'll start then. So, coming in at number 10 is 2017's The Black Coat's Daughter. If you listen to our 2017 show or any other shows that I've been a part of, I speak about The Black Coat's Daughter quite a bit. I think it's a masterpiece, and it's just one of those movies that I haven't been able to get out of my head. And it did manage to get into my top 10. Previously, most of my top 10 was reserved for classic horror films, but there's been some really great films that have come out. So my number 10 is The Black Coat's Daughter. Okay, Joe, what do you got?
I thought we were just doing movies.
Yeah.
In general.
Oh, yeah, we can... Well, yeah, I don't have a list of just all movies. I'm just going to do horror movies, but you can do all kinds of movies.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Number 10. 10.
Okay.
Onward.
What?
Onward.
Onward.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Onward's in your top 10 movies of all time.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, tell me why.
Well, because Dylan likes it.
And who's Dylan? These people don't know who Dylan is.
Dylan is my brother.
Okay.
He's $3.
He's 3 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, why else do you like the movie?
I don't know.
Wait, you keep looking at the TV. Like the TV's gonna give you answers.
It is.
Okay, but why? Just tell me one thing you like about the movie.
It reminds me of me and Dylan.
Good.
I like that.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. All right, so number 9 on my list is Halloween 1978. Which, Joey, have we watched Halloween 1978 together? You don't remember Halloween? The very first Halloween movie?
Oh, wait. I thought, yes, we have.
Yes. So we did watch that one together. And it's a classic. Everyone knows Halloween, so I don't need to say anything else about it. So, Joe, what do you got for number 9?
My number 9 pick is the newest Halloween.
Really? Okay. We didn't see that one in the theater, right? We just saw that at home.
Yes.
Okay. What did you like about Halloween?
I thought I liked how it ignored all the other movies.
All the bad sequels in between?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like the direct sequel.
Cool. Okay. I dig it. Anything else you want to say about that one?
No.
Okay. All right. My number 8 is Aliens. And you have seen Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about Aliens?
I thought it was a good movie. I think the first one was better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would agree with that, actually. I think the first movie is better. I think Aliens is just the one that I kind of grew up with watching more, so I've always appreciated that one. I think it's a little more fun, where the first one's a little more bleak. So, okay, what do you got for number 8?
For number 8, I have Overlord.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. So what'd you like about Overlord?
I thought it was kind of crazy.
Okay.
And it kind of tapped into people's fears about at the time and rumors too.
Okay.
So,
Like the Nazis
yeah.
literally trying to develop a super race of people. Okay, cool. That's a great movie. I love that one. Okay, number 7 for me is John Carpenter's The Thing. And spoiler alert, so I'll just kind of talk about what we're going to do for this show. So kind of the point is we will watch a movie for the very first time together, 1 or 2 movies, and then we'll talk about them. So after we do our top 10 list right now, we will be talking about John Carpenter's The Thing. And so, yeah, number 7 on my list. It's classic. It's a masterpiece of tension. And just one that I also grew up with. I watched probably when I was about your age. And I loved it. I'll never forget the scene when they're testing the blood and just things like that. Because that's part of the fun about the movies, right? It's like the memories you create together. And I'll always remember seeing that with my dad. Okay, number 7 to you.
My number 7 pick is Alien.
Wow. I had Halloween 78 for number 9. You had Halloween 40. And now you have, you're bringing in another movie. So cool. So what do you like about it?
I think it was like one of the first like sci-fi horror movies I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the design of the aliens.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty cool.
Did you, and I feel like you watched this one on your own, right? Because we had the box set upstairs. Did you watch all these movies by yourself on the computer?
I watched the first 3,
Okay.
not the 4th.
Okay. Well, that's cool that you just did on your own. Okay. Number 6 for me is Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, which we have not watched together yet. I've been kind of hesitating on showing you the Friday the 13th movies because they're just a little more adult content in some of them. But now I think you're getting close to that age. You turn 12 in a couple weeks. And so I think we'll actually tackle Friday the 13th on this show. But yeah, Friday the 13th, final chapter. It's the best Jason, the best actor that played Jason. And just a lot of fun moments from when I was a kid. And I watched this one with my brother when I was younger. So I always liked it. Okay, what do you got? Number 6.
My number 6 pick is The Thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So after when did we watch this? Last weekend?
Yes.
And it's on your top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you want to say anything or do you want to wait until we get into our review?
Wait.
Okay. All right. Number 5, and this is a movie that we have watched together, The Silence of the Lambs. If I recall, when we watched The Silence of the Lambs, you seemed like you actually got creeped out by it. Is that correct or incorrect?
Both.
It is both correct and incorrect.
Yes.
Okay. Help me understand what you mean by it.
So, wait. Okay. It's correct and incorrect because I think I just got weirded out, not really creeped out.
Okay.
It was he's weird.
Yeah. Who's weird, Buffalo Bill or Dr. Lecter?
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Lecter was cool.
Yeah, he was cool. Okay. All right. Number 5 to you.
My number 5 is also Silence of the Lambs.
Shut the front door. Really? Okay. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And I know there are people that debate whether it's horror or not. And I think because they just try to throw it in that thriller or drama thing, or people like to downplay horror as being a serious genre. But this is a movie about a serial killer that eats people, helping them track a guy that cuts people's skin off and wears it as a suit. So I think that qualifies as horror. Cool. I like that. All right, number 4 for me, in another new film, is Midsommar. And this is a movie that when it came out in the theater, we were in Houston, Texas, down seeing family. And I said, you know what? This is probably going to be inappropriate, but I'm going to take my son to see Midsommar. So we went in the theater, and when the guy looked at my ticket stub on my phone, the look that he gave us, And him saying, wait, you're going to take him to see this movie? He's like, this is like a movie for grown-ups, right? And I said, yep. And there were definitely times during that movie when I kept looking over at you and like I was thinking, well, my parenting skills are probably in question now. But here's the thing that was really impressed with you about when we saw this movie is there's one part later in the movie, close to the end, and you policed yourself. I looked over and you had closed your own eyes. And like you weren't watching. And it wasn't me like telling you to do that. Like, I think that's kind of the cool, like kind of the innocence still that you have as a kid. You're like, wait, I shouldn't be watching this, so I'm not going to. So I really appreciated that moment. So, but incredible film, gets better with every rewatch. I think I've watched it 5 times now. The director's cut makes it even better. So Midsommar. Okay. What are we on? Number 4 for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a very well-known movie. It's my number 4 pick is Wandering Earth.
Okay.
On Netflix.
Okay. I don't know what that is. Is that the Chinese one that you wanted me to watch that I still haven't watched yet? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Talk about it.
So, what it basically is the sun is expanding at a rapid rate, and it's gonna engulf Earth within a few thousand years. So, the United Earth government decides to propel Earth out of the solar system. And everything's good until they reach Jupiter. And the gravity from Jupiter kind of messes up the engines that are propelling Earth out of the solar system. And the story is just these group of people have to go and restart the engines so that they can escape the gravity of Jupiter.
That's cool. Cool. Yeah, I promise you I will watch that movie. It's been one that I just want to sit down and watch myself. And like last year when it came out, it was just so much prep for different shows. But yeah, you have been bugging me to see that one for a while, and I will. I don't know if you knew that was one of the largest grossing films of all time. In China, it's like the 3rd highest grossing film, and it made $700 million. And so that I just think that's kind of cool. I don't think people really knew that this little Netflix release is one of the biggest movies to come out. So I thought that was cool. Okay, cool. You surprised me there. All right, number 3 for me is The Exorcist, one that I am not quite comfortable watching with you yet, but we'll get there in the next couple of years. So yeah, what do you got?
Number 3 for me is Her Diary or Hereditary.
Oh, Her Diary? It doesn't even make sense.
When I wrote this out, there was a lot of typos and I didn't want to fix them, so.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. So talk to me about Her Diary.
I thought, I saw this, Brandon showed me this after I saw Midsommar. And I thought it was kind of cool because like the main character, the girl, I forgot her name, you don't really expect her to die. Charlie, mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I kind of just thought it was a story about Charlie, and she was kind of weird, mm-hmm. and something like that. But then it's because she was possessed by a demon that wanted to be in a boy's body, and the grandmother worshipped him, mm-hmm. or the demon. I thought that was a good twist.
You seemed like when we watched this, you were creeped out by it a little bit too.
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't happen often, so that's always kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's cool. Okay, number 2 for me is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the OG, the original. We watched this one last year for the first time. And Joe, what is your favorite part of A Nightmare on Elm Street?
I like when his arms.
Oh, when his arms?
Along.
What about the ending?
Oh, I remember that.
The rubber doll being pulled through the tiny window. Yeah.
And then the car.
Yeah. It's funny that movie's such a classic, and like any movie today that would have had such a terrible part in like that, I don't think anyone would have taken seriously. So I'm glad. Did you like that movie though?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, number 2 for you.
Midsummer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm surprised. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, or?
No.
No? Okay. All right. And my number 1 of all time is Dawn of the Dead, 1978. We watched part of this one, and you were bored out of your skull, so we didn't even finish watching it. But I still love you anyway, so that's okay. And your number 1?
My number 1 is Thomas and Friends Splish Splash Splash in full steam CGI
No.
animation.
Whatever.
My number 1 is Train to Busan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought since you had all genre, I thought you were going to throw on like, I don't know, something different. Like like Endgame or something, or A Train to Busan.
Yeah.
Why? Tell me why.
I thought it was a sweet story, and it had a sad ending. It was a very bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I love that movie, and I got you a Train to Busan shirt, which you were wearing last night. So that's cool. I like that. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of 10 of each of our favorite films. Okay, so here's kind of what the format's going to be. So we will together sit down and watch a movie, either of my choosing or of your choosing, and then we'll talk about the movie. And so these episodes won't be long like Anatomy of Fear. We're looking at probably 30 to 45 minutes, and hopefully get them out every couple weeks. So the movie that we picked, and you picked, I think you chose this one, and this is a movie I've been talking about for a long time. And I'm not sure why you wanted to watch it. Is it from me talking about it, or what made you want to watch John Carpenter's The Thing?
I saw pictures of it on the internet, and it looked fun.
Okay. That's fair. That's a pretty good reason. Okay. So when it comes to John Carpenter, do you know what other films he's directed, including one that we talked about already?
No.
Halloween, 1978.
Oh.
And Big Trouble in Little China. And many other fine films. So John Carpenter's The Thing, a movie that was hated when it came out. I don't know if you knew that.
Why?
The critics trashed it, thought it was awful. And now is kind of revered as one of the best horror films of all time, which is pretty cool. So let's start off with a synopsis. If you don't know anything about The Thing, people that are listening, I think you should just stop the recording. We're obviously going to spoil things because this movie, it's been around since 1982. And if you haven't seen it yet, then that's your problem. So John Carpenter's The Thing. A research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims. So in this, we have Kurt Russell as MacReady. You have Wilford Brimley. Joe, if you don't know, there's diabetes, and that's because of Wilford Brimley, because he was the guy on TV. You had Keith David as Childs, Richard Masur as Clark, T.K. Carter as Knowles, David Clennon as Palmer, and then a few other guys rounding out the relatively small, isolated cast. First impressions. Joe, what are your initial kind of thoughts? No strong dislikes, or just what did you think about the movie?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked how the alien assumed the forms of its victims, and how they knew how they would find out, and how sometimes they would catch it transforming into its victim. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was creative.
Yeah, that's cool. What did you think about the special effects?
I thought they were better than I thought they would be because they're all practical. I thought,
okay.
I don't know what else to say.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, my probably 50th impression still is that this is an incredible movie, and it brings back memories of when I saw this one with my dad. And again, that's kind of the cool thing about movies. I know right now, being that we're stuck in a pandemic and people are kind of talking about what the role is of the movie theater, right? Because there's been a couple releases like Trolls World Tour made as much money on VOD as it did if it would have hit the theaters. So people are kind of questioning what the role of the theater is now. And I think a big part of that, and I just spoke about this on the Horrorcast, is like it's the memories that you create. And just like I remember the first time we watched Insidious and you being terrified on the couch. I remember us taking a train from, where'd we go, from Austin to San Antonio, which for some reason that 45-minute drive took like 3.5 hours for us to get there. And you watched The Conjuring. And I remember you were terrified. You were super scared. I don't know if you remember, you gave me this look, but you were really scared because you were also like 6 or 7, like you were really young. But it's things like that. That's why the movies are cool, because you remember those little things, like who you were with and what you did. So that's what's fun about movies. So I think, when you're talking about the role of what is the role of theaters now, I think it's still really important because there are memories that are built around that. Like me taking you to Midsummer, I'm never going to forget that, and kind of the response and like the awkwardness that I felt, to then being at home and watching the Belko Experiment. And you remember I said beforehand, like, this may be the movie that makes my wife question my parenting skills, because that was pretty violent. But it's about memories that you create in the movies together. So, but yeah, fantastic movie, great performances. Kurt Russell is always cool. Kurt Russell, who you see pop up again in Big Trouble in Little China. And that's one of the great things about Carpenter, is he works with guys that he likes, and you see them pop up again. So we'll just do kind of a quick walkthrough through the movie. And again, we're not worried about spoilers or anything like that, because this movie, again, came out a long time ago. So as I'm going through, Joe, if anything pops up you want to mention, and then we'll just kind of talk about some parts. So the movie starts off kind of in Antarctica in the middle of the snow, and you see a helicopter coming, and you see the dog running from the helicopter. And so you're trying to figure out what's going on. And the dog runs to this American base, and then these crazy Norwegians come and they start shooting, and they're like, what's going on? Why are you shooting at the dog? And the Norwegian guy's yelling in some Norwegian language, which is probably Norwegian. Oh no, I said Norwegian language. And then he ends up shooting a guy, and then they return fire and kill, and then and then the other guy, he goes to like throw a grenade, and then he blows up his own helicopter and himself. So that gets a little crazy. Then after a little bit, MacReady gets a helicopter, and they decide to go out to this Norwegian base. And do you remember what they find at this base?
They find the weird dead dude.
Dead dude?
In the ice thing.
They find
and he's burnt.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so they bring the weird dead dude back to the base, do an autopsy, and find he has like, normal organs inside of him, but he has the crazy like stretched out face and cool stuff like that.
Very cool.
Do you remember what happens after that with the dogs?
Yeah, the dog that the Norwegians were chasing is put into the cage thing, and then it starts to eat the other dogs, and then it becomes this giant blob thing.
Yeah.
And there's dog parts all over it.
And how do they kill it?
They use a flamethrower.
Yes. And do you remember what I said after I saw the flamethrower?
No.
That I really want a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks that I can't have a flamethrower. So if anyone is looking for an early Christmas present or birthday present for me, flamethrower. It's a great idea. So they start, they're going through the different things that they find at the Norwegian base. Like they took paperwork back, they found a video recorder, and they're watching this video. And what do you see them find on the video? Do you remember?
Spaceship,
yeah.
Yum.
So this is kind of around when Blair starts going a little bit crazy, and he's running scenarios on his computer that, that this alien thing could spread and basically take out everyone in a couple years. And, they go and check out the spaceship, and then they come back, and that's when people start going crazy. And that's one of the cool things about this movie, is that it's really about kind of paranoia. I mean, obviously there's a monster, but it's also paranoia and distrust of people. Do you remember when we watched 10 Cloverfield Lane? Mm-hmm. Another movie where it's just about kind of paranoia, but at the end you find out that there really is aliens. It's a really cool movie. All right, so then, Blair's kind of going crazy. He sabotages the vehicles, he kills the sled dogs and destroys the radio. He's smashing stuff up, he's shooting at people, he's going bonkers. And then they find out that all this blood that they had is gone, it's been destroyed, and people are going more crazy. And people believe that MacReady's an alien all of a sudden because they find like his torn up suit, so they think that he's one of the monsters as well.
And when the alien attacks and like goes into its house, their clothes are messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because they found that the like long johns from earlier. Mm-hmm. Yep, good call out. So one of the first really crazy parts is that when Norris, he has a heart attack. So, after this kind of scuffle, so then they go to defibrillate, clear what happens when they try to shock him with the paddles.
His chest opens and then,
Yeah, basically eats, kind of eats the dude, and he starts transforming and turning into other stuff, and he bites off the guy's arms and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So that's a pretty cool part. So this is when they start doing the blood test samples. And so heating up a piece of wire with the flamethrower and sticking it in. And then when they finally get to Palmer, when he touches it with the heated wire, it jumps out. And, he transforms, and that's when he also infects Windows. And then MacReady has to burn them both. Yeah. So after that, Childs is kind of left on guard while the others go to test Blair. So they go out to the little shack that he's in, and they find that he's gone.
Bye-bye.
Yep, but underneath the shack where he was,
there's another spaceship.
Yes, he's been building a spaceship. So after he went and destroyed everything else, he'd been working on another spaceship.
Yep.
Which is pretty impressive. Like, I don't know how to build any spaceship, let alone a spaceship from spare parts. So that's pretty good.
If he can build a spaceship from spare parts, how come the government can't build one?
How do we know they haven't built it? I mean, well, we do build spaceships.
But not like that.
That's true. Not cool spaceships.
Yeah.
We just have spaceships that have to be brought up by a rocket, and then they just kind of float, basically. So it's not nearly as cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So they get back, and then Childs is missing, and the generator's destroyed, so they don't have any power anymore. And so MacReady is like, hey, that thing's going to hibernate until another rescue team arrives. So basically we got to take out this entire base. So it's just MacReady, Gary, and Knowles. And so like, all right, we got to blow this thing up. So they go back down. They're underneath the ground where the generator is. They start putting up explosives. And then Blair comes out and kills Gary, and then Knowles disappears. And then Blair transforms into this creature and destroys the detonator. And then MacReady triggers the explosives and blows up the base. And so then we're kind of left at the end where it's MacReady sitting out there, and then Childs comes, and then they just they start drinking and basically just wait to freeze to death. And that is our synopsis of The Thing. More than a synopsis, we really kind of covered the whole movie there in a nutshell. So, whoa, what was that?
That's in a nutshell in German.
Really? Say it again.
Crickets.
Okay. Okay. So let's just do a quick favorite parts of the movie. So, Joe, what are your 2 favorite parts of The Thing?
I liked when there were the defibrillators.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorite parts.
Okay.
And my other favorite part is the dog.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the defibrillator and then the blood testing, just because the crazy amount of tension during the blood test. I believe you're over there looking up the proper German translation of in a nutshell. So let's see what the results are. And Joe, how do you properly say in a nutshell in German?
Kurzgesagt.
That doesn't even sound... That sounds like something in World of Warcraft.
Kurz, Kurzgesagt.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like pretty good pronunciation because I don't know how to pronounce it any differently. What is your least favorite thing about this movie?
I thought it was kind of slow in the beginning.
Okay. Any other dislikes of the movie?
No.
Okay, so just a little slow.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Dawn of the Dead earlier. And again, this first episode is us just, people getting to know us as podcasters together. Dawn of the Dead was a struggle for you, and we didn't even finish. Do you feel like a lot of the older films are like that? Like they're just a little bit slower, or what do you think?
I don't think a lot of them are, just some of them.
Okay.
And I haven't seen that Dawn of the Dead in a while, so I might like it now.
Okay, so you'll be willing to give it another try?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay, good job to you. I don't know why we're saying good job, but good job. Good job. And for me, I don't have any dislikes of this movie at all. I think it's a perfect movie. I think it's a perfect 10 out of 10. So I really don't have any complaints about this movie. So with that said, that is our feature review of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yay. Whee!
So next time, so what we're going to do, again, we're going to try and get out an episode. Just these quick, maybe 30-minute episodes of us talking about a couple movies. And so next time we are going to talk about 2 movies. Do you remember what these 2 movies are? Because you picked them out when we were upstairs looking at movies on the shelf the other day. If you don't, I do. So, okay, so Joe, what are going to be our next 2 movies that we'll be covering?
Child's Play and Le Wizard. The Wizard.
Did you say Le Wizard?
Yeah.
You're getting French on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the original Child's Play and then The Wizard, which I just picked up the Shout Factory special edition of that, so I'm really excited to watch that. And we'll see what you thought about a Nintendo movie from the 1980s. And when I mentioned what The Wizard was, what movie did you immediately mention and compare it to?
Mac and Me.
Okay. Why? Because it's a movie about like a something?
About it's a movie by a giant corporation.
Where The Wizard is Nintendo and Mac and Me is...
McDonald's.
Yes. If you haven't seen Mac and Me, I tried to make Joey watch this a few weeks ago. And I put it on, and we all pretty much disconnected pretty quick after that. So, yeah. But yeah, looking forward to that. I look forward to seeing what you think. And please, if you guys have suggestions of movies that we should cover, please let us know. And we will you can reach us on our Facebook page for the Anatomy of Fear. And
I have a Facebook page?
Well, my Facebook page for the show, but it'll also have this show on it. No, you don't need Facebook. You don't need that dumpster fire. But so go ahead and reach out to us. Let us know what movies you think. Please, review us. You can find us on the channel for the Anatomy of Fear, which can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all other podcast directories for the most part. So with that, we're going to wrap things up. Joe, I just want to thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you.
I mean, really, you are, I'll say this because you're not my friend because I'm your parent, but really, you're like my best friend. But I'm not your friend, if that makes any sense. So
No.
It's fun for us to just be able to do this together because movies have been kind of our thing for a long time. So any closing thoughts from you before we get out of here?
I'm a breadstick.
You are a breadstick. Indeed. Okay. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate you listening. And again, reach out to us. Let us know what you think of our reviews, or if you have movies to suggest, let us know what you think, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.